Hello everyone. How are we all doing today? It's been a week since the last stream. Been a week. How are y'all doing? I've had a nice break during this last week. I did have to cancel the last stream because I wasn't feeling too well, but I am better now. And honestly, what were we even gonna do last stream? I'm pretty sure we were also gonna do a content react, but I just pushed it to this week, right? Yeah, seems like it. I still don't know what to categorize these streams as, whether they're like dev streams or chill streams. They're kind of like both, but I don't know. I'll probably need to figure out what they are in the future. Limit remove mod from my other account since my friend is about to get on it. Well, I already removed it. You're good to go. Noel says there's a paper where they try to give LLMs hormonal cycles. What the fuck does that even mean? How do you give an LLM a hormonal cycle? I'm honestly down to read it if you submitted it, but it doesn't seem like we actually have any new submissions. I need to make a mods. Somebody. Can somebody make a links channel on the Discord? Because I feel like nobody remembers all the links that I've posted for like the YouTube stuff or mainly the submission form for the content reacts. Oh, admin's up, Ken? Ping lol for it. I'm sure he has time right now. Yeah. If you were wondering where lol was for the past couple weeks, he finally got his computer back. His computer exploded like 3 weeks ago. He hasn't been online since. But he's got a new computer now, so all is good. Hopefully we'll see him more often now. Big J Ison jump scare? I did think she was a little bit bigger than normal. Ooh. Yeah. I finally got to work on Jay Ison a little bit this past week, make her new personality and stuff. What you saw earlier with the response she gave for 1,000 people in the Discord server, by the way, thank you all for 1,000 members in the Discord server. It's actually kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, the response that she gave, that was with the new model that I've been trying to iteratively improve over the past week. It's a little bit weird. I feel like I get a lot of good responses from her nowadays, but it's like whenever I try and train her on the synthetic data that I'm generating with it, it starts to get sloppier and sloppier. So I have to spend more and more time like aligning what's inside of the data set to improve what she's saying. Because it's not like if I only include the parts of the conversations which I actually like from her, I feel like her personality becomes more and more unaligned from what the original intention was. I do not miss the pipes at all. 1,000 people is a lot of people. It is quite a lot of people. I am quite surprised we have so many people, especially since we only have like 4,000 subs on the YouTube channel. Which, by the way, we also did hit last week. We hit 4,000 subs last week. Also kind of crazy to think about. Man, I'm not gonna lie. The progression of this channel, or the growth of this channel, still has surprised me so much. So much. Also,
God damn!
This is the link to the paper. Can I access this paper? Yes, I can. Thank you. Personally, you think that these are more chill streams for nerds? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I don't know whether to categorize dev streams as streams where I, the dev, am on stream, because so far that has been every single stream so far. Or if it should be categorized as like streams where we're doing work, right? Because I feel like chill streams, it can be chill if
Hello
I'm here,
world,
right?
programmed to work and not to feel, not even sure that this is real. Hello world.
Unknown Piet is now following.
Thank you, Unknown Pilot, for the follow. Because you're that good, I am not that good. I am like barely a streamer. Yeah. I guess that's like my update about Jay Eisen. Her progress has been going pretty good right now. But I've been focusing more on trying to get a lot of the other videos that I have planned at least a decent way through, because like there are going to be so many videos that I need to make in the upcoming month or so. There's at least one more. There's at least one more that I want to get done by this month. Was Pipes always 1,000 channel points? It has always been 1,000. It has never even been 800. I don't know where you're getting 800 from. There's a lot of other things you can do besides supervised fine-tuning to avoid slop. In fact, supervised fine-tuning is usually the last step in anti-slop. There's a lot of things that I want to try in terms of trying to improve the quality of my data sets so that when I do take it to supervised fine-tuning, I don't have to think about it as much. Or when I actually do have to take it to the fine-tuning step, I don't have to think about it as much. Like, my kind of mentality when it comes to trying to improve J.A. Eisen's model right now is just trying to make as good of a data set as possible, continuously try and add like more context or more features to the data sets, and then just do supervised fine-tuning. Oh god, wait, why is it telling me now that you're playing Pipes? I was like from a couple minutes ago. I swear it was 800 at some point. It was 500 at some point. Then I had to up it to 1,000 because it clearly wasn't enough. The LLM will slop regardless of what you train it on. You're just changing what kind of slop you get. Mode collapse is inevitable unless you build a train track at runtime. You will derail. There's like kind of... I mean, yeah, the LLM will slop regardless, but it's like... I feel like there's a way to reduce the amount of slop we get when we're iteratively training it, right? It's like the first few models that I got out of it, they weren't that sloppy. By the way, thank you, how do I say this? Daninik? Thank you, Danin, for the 1 gifted sub. It's like, the first few models were pretty good in terms of the personality, but they weren't that rich in terms of features. But the more and more I kind of train it with these other data sets, the more slop is inside of the data set, to which it kind of misaligns the model and its ability to like participate in the conversation. And what I mean by that isn't so much of, oh, thank you RDG for the 1 gifted. I don't mean like the personality is bad, right? I mean, yeah, the personality does shift from fine-tune to fine-tune, but that's also kind of inevitable. What I mean is like, it's kind of dissociating from the conversation, where for some reason, the more I fine-tune, the more iterations I go down, the more it starts to think that, mix up the things that I'm saying with what it's saying. It still understands that it identifies as J.A. Eisen, but for some reason, it's taking whatever I'm saying and thinking it's the one that's saying it throughout the conversation. And I have no idea why that's the case, because it's not like I'm fine-tuning it or lobotomizing the model anymore than I did with previous versions, but I think it has more to do with how the conversations are flowing. I don't know. It's still something that I'm just playing around with. But it'll be a while before I actually end up with a fully fine-tuned version of J.A. Eisen that has all of the features to support, like, I don't know, multiple speakers or different contexts, injections and whatever. Because right now, for the most part, I'm focusing on trying to nail down the personality and the kind of responses that she can give versus trying to make her pay attention to things outside of just what I'm saying, for example, or generalizing her so she is capable of speaking to other people other than just me, let's say. Alright. Without further ado then, let's see what the fuck this paper about giving LLMs hormonal cycles is all about. Because like, I am not gonna lie, that seems like such a wild thing to try and give an LLM. Like, what is even the benefit to something like that? One day, voices will be solved. I'm gonna continue working on Jay Eison's voice after I finish her personality. Right? One thing at a time, kinda. Why would they try to give hormonal cycles? That's what I'm asking. Crankiness? Simulate crankiness? There is no benefit.
Thank you so much for the sub. Oh my god, guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for the 1 month sub. Prize the voice. I don't think you guys are gonna see Jay Eisen until after those two at the very minimum get finished. The personality model as well as the new voice. It could be a little bit of time. But like, I know we're trying to like, I get people want more realistic and more immersive models, but like, this is not a way to do it. Reminds me of a tweet that said how LLM responses were getting ABD or bad in specific times of the year because it picked up on people's seasonal depression. This is not the kind of thing that we need to simulate. This is not how we simulate realism, guys. Why are we giving LLMs hormonal cycles? It's a 9-page paper. Here we go. Hold on, let me just switch to monitor view. I don't know what happened to my monitor view, but all my monitors reset and now everything's all whack. Here we go. Yeah, I know none of you can see it. Here we go. This paper is actually only 6 pages long. It's not too bad. I'm probably just gonna skim through it. Not gonna give it too deep of a read, but let's see. Every 28 days, the AI dreams of soft skin and burning stars. I guess we're giving AIs menstrual cycles. What the fuck? This is such a wild thing to read from a paper. Like, oh my god. Wasn't that straight up cope from OpenAI? Because they iterated on GPT-4o, and the current iteration was a lazy bum. They had no way of fixing it. I feel like, okay. I feel like they really shouldn't be testing their models in production. But at the same time, it's like they also need to test their models somehow, right? With the masses. I just feel like it would be better if they didn't replace the current working model with whatever iteration of 4.0. And it's like, yeah, it's literally just testing in production. And it's like, what do they expect? I don't know. Maybe they just treat it differently because it's like, okay, it's still technically working. We just need to understand if the community's reaction is any better or not. Whatever goes on in that company is probably hellfire. I can imagine so. They should have never removed this is a research preview tag from the ChatGPT page. So true. Yeah, giving menstrual cycles to AI. Scaffolding AI agents with hormones and emotions. The emotions part I get. Trying to simulate hormones and menstrual cycles to achieve emotions, though, is... We don't need to go that deep, guys. We don't need to go that deep. I could tell you pretty insane stories about OpenAI internally, but that's neither here nor there, and also privacy of people. I can imagine. Just like from the people at least last year, that were leaving OpenAI. The stories are kind of crazy. I mean, they might have been schizo, they might have been crazy, but like, oh my god, the mentality of some people that were leaving was just, oh my fucking god. If that's indicative of what's going on inside of OpenAI, it's crazy. It's actually crazy. Alright, abstract. Despite significant advances, AI systems struggle with the frame problem, determining what information is contextually relevant from an exponentially large possibility space. I don't see how this is in any way related to the problem to their solution here, but okay, let's see. We hypothesize that biological rhythms, particularly hormonal cycles, serve as natural relevance filters that could address this fundamental challenge. I feel like at least understand the psychology of it before thinking it would apply to an AI model. In what ways does hormones and emotion determine what information is contextually relevant? I feel like contextual relevancy isn't bottle capped by the fact that they don't understand emotions inherently. I think it just has to be, it's more of their reasoning capabilities or just like adjustments to their attention mechanism. In what ways does understanding emotion help with it? I don't really understand that part. These people are trying to do strong AI. I don't know. I think they're stretching with simulating PMs. I don't know. I just think these are two entirely separate fields or two entirely separate problems. Like trying to determine or trying to improve accuracy or contextual relevancy versus simulating and understanding emotions. I don't see how they relate. We develop a framework that embeds simulated menstrual and circadian cycles into large language models through system prompts generated from periodic functions, modeling key hormones including estrogen, testosterone, and cortisol. The more I read, the more wild it fucking gets. Across multiple state-of-the-art models, linguistic analysis reveals emotional and stylistic variations that track biological phases. Sadness peaks during menstrual, okay, obviously, while happiness dominates ovulation, and circadian patterns show morning optimism transitioning to nocturnal introspection. Benchmarking on Squad multimodal language, I forgot what the U is for this, Teleswag, and whatever this benchmark is, demonstrates subtle but consistent performance variations aligning with biological expectations. Slash predictions, you're trying to get me to transfer the things. Limit, can you pick the win as win? Fine. Predictions. Win as win. You know what? I think I'll pick lose this time around. Hard reset on that shit. Including optimal function in moderate rather than extreme hormonal regions. This methodology provides a novel approach to contextual AI while revealing some societal biases regarding gender and biology are embedded within language models. I can't tell if their goal is trying to improve the accuracy of results, or if they're simply just trying to simulate humans as closely as possible. Like, variations aligning with biological expectations? why would we need to simulate something like this unless if we're trying to create like the most human-like model as possible? If we're doing that, then we're just simulating human flaws. If we're trying to achieve the most powerful, the most accurate model possible, then we shouldn't be doing this. I don't know. The desperate AI researchers are going to be desperate, I guess. I do believe that AI should not simulate perfectly humanity. There is the argument that, yeah, we don't want them to perfectly simulate humans realistically, in the case that like we need to differentiate AIs from humans in the, I guess, dead internet or whatever Turing test. But at the same time, it's like, at the end of the day, I think what research should be focusing on isn't trying to improve AI relationships, but rather trying to improve, I guess, the power and accuracy of AI as a tool. Whereas this space of having AIs as a personality or whatever is more of, I don't know, just a novel kind of thing or a hobbyist kind of thing. I mean, there's like a business to it, but it seems kind of dystopian as well. This sounds like a Weekend Lamau what if project that they turned around and made it into a paper for academic credibility. Kinda, yeah. Like, two guys drunk at home being like, you know, what if we gave an AI model menstrual cycles? Fucking hell, what were they thinking? Alright. The Western discovery of biological rhythm is often credited to French astronomer Jean-Jacques. Sure. In 1729, when he found that a mimosa plant's leaves continue to open and close on a daily rhythm even when kept in constant darkness. This calculated movement suggested that there were internal and chronological timekeeping mechanisms underpinning growth and movement, not just reactions to the organism's environment. Larry spent the last 4 years or something studying and building human flaws into computers. I mean, it's kind of different though, because the thing that we're trying to achieve here is actually trying to better simulate humans for the purpose of engaging conversations. But this is an academic paper. This is different. Decades of experiments by Jean-Jacques, among other botanists such as Fontel and these other people, on plant rhythms are at the foundations of modern chronobiology and explaining the biological rhythms around us. Endogenous and cyclic rhythms are a fundamental element of life that connects our bodies to each other and to the biological world, but they are also part of what makes us fundamentally human. At the epicenter of our rhythms are hormones, okay? Chemical and electrical signals that flow through our body. It's like, okay. The more I read about this, the more I kind of don't see the purpose of what they're trying to achieve here besides simulating hormones. And it's like, to that end, is for what purpose? For what purpose? Because it's like, okay, simulating circadian rhythm. I feel like you don't have to actually model down to the hormones just to simulate fluctuations in emotions or the kinds of responses it's giving. It's kind of like how the same way economic models aren't meant to exactly simulate what is going on in the current world and the kind of like ups and downs of the market or whatever, but rather they can be as unrealistic as possible. But as long as their inputs to outputs are mapped relatively equal, they don't care what's going on at the center. I don't like engaging conversations. If that's all I wanted, I would have been done with my job in 2022. I care about long-term relationships. I feel like engaging conversations, they translate to long-term relationships, though. And that's kind of what I mean, right? The space that we're kind of working within isn't achieving the most accurate models possible. It's achieving more human-like models, is what I guess I'm trying to say. Genuine care and pushing connections. I think there's a purpose to what they're trying, but hormonal cycles are generally not a great flaw to copy. They're regarded as straight up limitations in humans by oneself and others. It's like, yeah. It's like, if we want to go down the path of trying to simulate life itself inside of a computer, sure, I guess this has some merit. But there are so many other ways of achieving emotions or fluctuations in behaviors. Like, we don't need to go down to the literal sense of working with hormones. We're not trying to simulate every atom in the universe, is what I'm trying to say. And so I feel like in any field, even if we're trying to like simulate the most realistic humans possible, this is not really something that we need. Can I make a J-Ison crypto rug pull? You want to stay a mod? Oh my god. We don't need more scams in this community. We don't need a scam or scandal inside of this community. Let's keep it to AI VTubing, yeah? Where were we? The complex feedback and influence networks are involved in most of our bodily functions, from maintaining our heart rate, telling us when we should sleep, motivating reproduction, and dictating our emotions. All things that an AI doesn't need. Importantly, hormones play an important role in the cognitive capacities of humans, sure. Some works have considered the role of the circadian rhythm. Other works have investigated the roles of cortisol, among others. Some works have considered the role of hormonal cycles on creativity, and whether emotional intelligence aids in creativity. Honestly, this is a more valid point for their use case, right? I mean, still, like I said, there are better ways of simulating emotional fluctuations and adding noise to the inputs. But emotional intelligence aiding creativity, that is a true point. Using hormonal cycles to induce emotional changes or emotional states, I mean, I guess it could kind of induce a state which we wouldn't normally encode into the LLM or something like that, right? Or maybe an emotional state that we can't really describe with words. Sure. I don't know. I'm just driving the point home that this kind of research is so weird to me. In reflecting on what makes us human, these hormones and consequently our emotions help us solve problems and discern what is relevant. They are largely viewed as imperfect and flawed, and acknowledging them in public is often a societal taboo. Often, these hormones enhance our perceptual abilities. Why can't I read? Our perceptual abilities, allowing us to approach our lives and creativity regularly and regularly varying capabilities rather than consistent expectation of output. Despite the mounting research that hormones and our emotions play a critical role in how we navigate and combinatorially explosive set of possibilities upon which we can act at any given time. That is true. Few few practical implementations of artificial intelligence systems have incorporated any kind of biological rhythm or hormonal analogs. What if instead the agent's attention was driven by rhythmicity, reminiscent of the biological cycles that drive human existence? On this point, I mean, emotions can drive what we do pay attention to, right? The kind of topics, the kind of things that do get highlighted in memory or inside of a conversation, they do kind of change with emotional states. Whether we should replace the entire attention mechanism? I'm not sure about that. Noel messages me spamming, "Don't you dare do it." Noel always trying to... Noel is the only thing keeping... What do I even call you now? Do I still call you Haku? I guess Maktig. Maktig. How the hell do I even say Maktig? Can I call you Tiggy? Can I just call you Tiggy? Noel's the only thing keeping Tiggy in check. Maktig. Miktig. Next paper is going to be, let's give AI mental disorders. Isn't that what we've been doing throughout all of Project AI Sim? That's just Grok Annie? So true. Sounds like a Mr. Beast video. I gave an AI mental cycles. There's no fucking way. It sounds like a type of video I or Ryan would make. Maktig. Tig do it. Tiggy. Mak. Make. Mak. It's like Maktig. Maktig. Mac, like mac and cheese. Big Mac. Big Maktig. Hey. It sounds like a video on SchizoDev's channel. That is true. But when was the last time SchizoDev even like posted? It's been a whole year, I feel like. Limit just disappeared. Did just disappear. What the heck? Give me 1 second. I don't know why it just crashed. Hold on. Acting. It's just such a funny thing to say. There we go. Model couldn't bear to hear about menstrual cycles of AI. It's so done with me, my body had to leave my soul. Model said, "Fuck this shit, I'm out." While large language models have shown unexpected cyclic variations in performance, famously becoming lazier during certain holidays, I feel like that has less to do with the actual LLMs themselves, but just whatever the company or their inputs are. The industry's primary goal has been to enforce uniformity. This mirrors a societal expectation of constant human productivity. No, I don't think this reflects the societal expectations of humanity, just a societal expectation of what we want from AIs as tools. A paradigm that overlooks the natural biological rhythms fundamentally to creativity and intelligence. We challenge this pursuit of consistency and argue that intentionality integrating simulated biological cycles into AI could foster more dynamic and creative capabilities. It should just be something that we toggle on and off. We want consistency for tasks like summarization or question answering. For creativity and other stuff like creative writing or, I don't know, personalities, then this is a valid point. allowing them to tackle problems that cannot be solved by raw intelligence alone. Sure, right? I mean, I guess you can also make the case that creativity also helps with trying to answer questions in novel ways that it wasn't like trained on, or it hasn't been given the answer to inside of its context. But that's another point. To investigate this, we use a novel hormonal framework to generate system prompts that endow agents with distinct cyclic states. Then we benchmark these agents to explore what capabilities, if any, arise from these biologically inspired features. Ultimately, this research questions the very goal of constant peak performance, examining what emerges when technology is designed not to be just intelligent, but rhythmic, emotional, and even tired. Noel just posted a link. This is a good thing, but not for the reasons given, because prompting abuse, even to an AI, increases the impulsivity of people. In subset conversations. Claude can now end a rare subset of conversations. I'm not going to read this just yet, but... Oh, it would be like ending the conversation of what would otherwise lead to like more harm than good. I mean, this has kind of been the direction Anthropic has been going with their models, because like one of the very first papers that we did read was talking about how Anthropic and Claude, their objective was not to make a sycophantic model, or to move away from a sycophantic model and create a model that has the ability to disagree or to challenge what is being said inside of the conversation, right? Simply for the purpose of making a more accurate model that is more capable of trying to direct the conversation to what is actually right versus what the user wants to hear. Anthropic's ideal, great. Anthropic, the company, very, very mid. I only know their ideals. I do not know what their company is actually like, because I don't actually engage with them at all or use their products. I don't know. That's like how I feel like for most of the companies outside of OpenAI, because OpenAI is the only one that I actually use, mainly for the purpose of running JAI Syn and stuff. Alright, methodology. How the fuck did they achieve this? Probably just like having another section where they put in tokens associated with what's... It's probably just like another context, injected context, stating their current mood or their current, like, I don't know, hormone levels, so to speak. And then having it try and model the responses associated or based on those inputted tokens or whatever. Yeah, they don't even share their prompts. Anthropic or these guys? I would assume Anthropic. To describe our methodology, we briefly established the role of hormones and the cycles they follow. Hormones are involved in the homeostatic feedback in most of our body's processes. The two most prominent fundamental cycles is our 24-hour circadian sleep cycle. Imagine having one of those, couldn't be me. And our 28-day menstrual cycles. This is too wild to read. 28-day menstrual cycles in my fucking AI. The guys in the paper, they don't even give the prompt. That is a major fumble. That is a major blunder. They're going to propose this whole novel injection of hormone states, and they're not even going to show us the prompts in which they used for that. Like, what? What's a sleep schedule? Exactly. What's a sleep schedule? The circadian rhythm of our sleep-wake cycles. Humans evolved to wake up at the humans evolved to wake up with the sunrise, couldn't be me, and sleep with the sunset, couldn't be me. This makes us diurnal agent. This makes us diurnal agent. Our biological rhythms following the roughly 24-hour or circadian cycle. Early experimental procedures in the study of the diurnal rhythms of animals involved changing the natural alternation of light and darkness in attempts to perturb the rhythm. However, the daily cycles of humans is not so simply studied. The complex blend of hormones interact with our behaviors, biological characteristics, and notably our sleep to establish our ability to function. Cortisol is hypothesized to be involved in long-term memory consolidation during memory. Cortisol also influences short-term memory emotionally and experiences the sadness and creativity. Okay, the way they state it, it's almost like they're associating the number with the result, when in reality it's like the number translates to a higher concentration of this hormone being in your body, which triggers certain pathways, which puts you in certain moods, right? Or certain levels of tiredness, or triggers whatever mechanisms, right? It's like thinking just having a higher level of cortisol. I don't know. It's like I don't know how to say it. It's just like the fact that they're simply using cortisol, the number, and using that to drive the emotional state. It just doesn't sit well for me when it comes to the idea of simulating how hormones translate to emotion, right? I don't know how to like describe it really. But it's like, yeah, cortisol improves our ability to make long-term memories and consolidate long-term memories during our sleep, but it's not like cortisol just existing in our bodies is the reason why we're having memory consolidation, right? It's like they're being completely ignorant of the actual mechanisms that go on during sleep, which consolidates our memories into long-term memory, right? It's like kind of saying cortisol is the reason why we can form long-term memories, instead of saying cortisol is the reason we sleep. And during sleep, we do certain behaviors, which consolidates memory into long-term memory, right? So, I don't know. I feel like their pathway of trying to associate one thing to another is just not right. I get that what they're trying to achieve here is not a form of long-term memory, but the entire tone of this so far just kind of has sounded like that. Also, good morning, Taki. Other well-known circadian patterns are basal body temperature and testosterone. Low BBT generally rises and falls with a predictable pattern, typically reaching its lowest point shortly before waking up and rising steadily into the evening and decreasing at night. Testosterone peaks right before waking up, waking to support physical activity and exerts influences on metabolic functions throughout the day. Another thing is like a lot of the benefits and a lot of the results from hormones that they are presenting here, these aren't even things that would influence an AI to begin with, because the AI, the only thing that matters in this case in relation to the hormones is the emotional state, right? And if we're going to do that, then we should be translating the hormones into an emotional state, or at least that's what they should be focusing on inside of this paper. Not all of these parts of addressing long-term memory, addressing activity, all of these things. It's just like, I don't know. This paper just feels all over the place. Like, hold on. Can I... How recent is this paper? August 15, 2022, 5 days ago. I don't know, I kind of want to see what other people think of this paper. Because I get like, most of us here can kind of think that this is kind of a dumb article, but I feel like the quality of research here is also pretty bad. Again, this also, like Noel said, this feels like a weekend project that this person has just turned into a paper for academic credibility.
Thank you so much for the sub. Oh my god, guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, MacPig, for the tier 1. Your subscription streak is reset to 0 now. Honestly, I don't know why you didn't just like stick with your old Twitch account, but sure. Remove this sound? Nah, the sound is peak. What do you mean? I see only one use for this, so guys can practice speaking to girls. Guys can get practice speaking to girls on their menstrual cycle. Oh my god, holy cringe. Computer scientists trying to avoid talking to real girls. Doing anything besides talking to real girls. Full IP reset, that's why. Only thing I kept was Steam, nothing else. I don't think for the most part your IP follows you for most of your accounts, or at least that's not something that people can easily find. Like sure, you might have been like doxxed at some point. People are still gonna find your IP even with new accounts. Your IP is not tied to your accounts. I subscribed only because of that. Alright, menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle is driven by feedback loops in the hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis of the body. God damn. These names in biology are so convoluted. For what? I guess. I mean, if you chain them together individually, they do make sense. It's like, this is my one gripe about biology. Axis of the body with the most recognizable hormonal trends comprised of estrogen. Comprised of estrogen and progesterone. I hate these names. Progesterone released from the ovaries, luteinizing hormone, and follicle stimulating hormone stemming from the pituitary gland in the brain. Their fluctuations divide the roughly 28-day cycle in 3 phases in ovarian cycle. Follicular, read these, ovulatory, and luteal. These coincide with the phases of the uterine cycle, including the menstrual cycle, when the uterine lining is shed during the first half of the follicular phase. Colloquially, the menstrual cycle is broken down into 4 phases of menstrual, follicular, ovulatory, and luteal. These phases prepare the body for potential fertilization and pregnancy, and occur in the majority of a menstruating person's life, starting around the age 11 and lasting until the maturity in the person's 50s. Hormonal status and its interactions in the brain result in a range of psychological changes, including an individual's energy levels and feelings of attractiveness, risk-taking, and agitation. We also know the hormones throughout the menstrual cycles influences a person's implicit memory and affects women's overall performance performance athletically and otherwise. General trends of energy have been consistently documented, with higher energy and around ovulation as estrogen, FSH, and LH increases, and outbursts of energy before the onset of menstruation when progesterone is highest. Though there is great variability on when ovulation occurs, generally between 10 to 16 before the onset of menstruation, an average estimation of a typical cycle has been estimated at around 28 days. What was the point of all this? What was I supposed to get out of this? I just learned more about the menstrual cycle than I did about their entire fucking algorithm. What does this have to do with methodology? If I can open my Twitch on my brother's computers, since it would not switch, I can just use my old account. God damn it. Time to switch back to Haku and rename it, brother. Never thought I would learn about women's cycles at 3 AM. Never thought I'd be reading about women's cycles on a fucking stream. Also, Haku, MacTig. You know your IP is not computer-based, right? It's network-based. Unless if you're using a VPN, then pretty much it's inevitable people will know your IP. Alright, finally, experimental design. To construct artificial biological cycles, we first need to generate realistic hormonal levels for features like the time of day or a day in the menstrual cycle. As no widely accepted function forms for these hormones exist, how accurate do we really need to simulate these hormone cycles? Like, bro, come on. We just like put it on a 28-day timer. Like, what? A sine wave with 28 days period or some shit. We engineered a set of periodic functions with added Gaussian noise to simulate the natural shapes and fluctuations of testosterone, estrogen, LH, FSH, progesterone, cortisol, and the temperature as well. Yes, I'm feeling extra hot today. I am angry. These simulated hormonal profiles were then used to generate distinct system prompts for a wide range of state-of-the-art models, including Anthropic's Claude 3.5 Sonnet, DeepSeek Chat, Google's Gemini 1.5 Flash, and Pro Gemma 3 variations with 4 billion, 12 billion, 27 billion, OpenAI's ChatGPT 4o Mini, Meta's Llama 3.1 and 3.2. Holy fucking shit, there's so many. Each prompt was designed to convey a specific emotional tone corresponding to its underlying hormonal state. To enhance the realism of a hypothetically individual stream of consciousness, we also provided concrete contextual information, such as being at a hardware store in Argentina. Yes, details, people, details. This process results in two large corporea of prompts, one for the menstrual and one for the circadian context, ready for linguistic analysis and performance benchmarking. So basically, they're just... Okay. From reading this, what it seems like, they aren't even adding a new kind of context to the chat prompts or whatever. They aren't doing like context injection or returning results from a tool or anything, or having tokens representing emotional states or hormone levels. They aren't giving any of that. They are just swapping out the prompt based on whether the model should be tired or angry or on their period or whatever. Like, what the fuck? And the thing is, they don't even provide these prompts either, so you can't even tell how well they even described these prompts or how they even made these prompts to get the results that they did. I feel like a better and I guess more valid, credible results that I would accept is if they fine-tuned a new model or trained an entirely new model to accept tokens that represent the levels of these certain hormone levels, and not just to encode testosterone, estrogen, and cortisol, but to include other hormones as well, like ghrelin, or what other fucking hormones there are that would contribute in some way to emotions. But the thing is, even with that, there are like fucking hundreds of them, thousands of them maybe, right? There are too many fucking hormones out there that influence how we experience emotions. And so I feel like it would just be better to have a section within the chat prompts. So you would have the assistant, you would have the user, but you would also have hormone levels. And inside of hormones levels, it would just be like a string of tokens, one for each, I guess, hormone level. And then depending on which one it is, it would be a different like level of the hormone throughout the fucking thing. I don't fucking know. That would be a more credible and a more applicable demonstration of the results they got here. Not just like prompt swapping, because then that's just like susceptible to variations in the quality of the prompts. Especially if you're changing it drastically with something like, oh, you're at a hardware store in Argentina. I don't even know how to like, I haven't even got into the results section yet, but I feel like the results, even when I read the results, I'm probably not gonna get like meaningful information from the results of this study, because I don't even think it's gonna accurately reflect what this kind of information would provide in terms of changing the creativity of a prompt. Because this is just how does the prompt change, or how does the prompt adjust the creativity of writing or whatever. Because it's going to instill the mood that it is supposed to simulate onto the results or the response of the given inputs. And that's just more to do with the prompt than it is to do with how these hormones affect the results directly. Like, okay, what I'm basically trying to say is I would like to see them try this again, but directly include the hormones as an input parameter to see how the model performs, and to see if the model can learn some sort of correlation between the different hormonal levels to the actual response quality, as opposed to having them assume these are what the hormone levels would result in a certain mood, as opposed to like hard coding that and then just swapping out the prompt here where the hormone level information is just completely lost. Anyways, enough of that yapping. We performed a linguistic comparison, or a linguistic characterization of the generated prompts across the menstrual and circadian contexts. To identify thematic content, we use term frequency inverse Term frequency inverse document frequency. I forgot what this relates to, but this is just like some sort of natural language metric. I don't fucking know. To find the most distinctive keywords for each biological phase. So they're basically going through all the literature when it comes to menstrual and circadian cycles, and then they're just trying to pull out keywords and include them inside of their prompts. That's what this sounds like. I don't know though, because they did not even provide their prompt, so I can't tell. When we analyze the affective tone using both sentiment analysis for overall polarity and the NRC emotion lexicon to measure the proportion of words associated with 5 core emotions. We then analyze the affective tone using both sentiment analysis for overall polarity and the NRC emotion lexicon to measure the proportion of words associated with 5 core emotions. So they're taking these words and they're running it through a sentiment analyzer to kind of classify the emotion, but they're also using this index or this lexicon, this dictionary, to also associate the keywords associated with the menstrual and the circadian rhythm. And then they're also categorizing it to one of 5 emotions. This is not granular enough. 5 core emotions is not granular enough to simulate the complexities of human emotions, especially when you're going down to the levels of hormones. Oh my god, I have so many gripes with this article. It would be better if they synced it to some woman to kind of try predicting the change and effect of the cycles. But the cycle's kind of unique, so even that is useless. Even if they did try and sync the responses in correlation to the hormone levels of a woman, that a test subject that they have, right? Have a participant measure her hormone levels and then have her give an answer to a prompt, and then so you can associate the hormone levels to the kind of response that she would give. 1, that would be super fucking expensive to do. 2, I mean, I guess, yeah, the only point I can really say to that right now is that it would be super fucking expensive. And judging by the quality of this research, it's they don't have that kind of budget. I mean, like, yeah, it's not like they don't know what they're doing, but at the same time, it's like, I feel like they know they can do better. Linguistic complexity was assessed by measuring average word length with a whatever test, comparing the distributions between 2 contexts. To investigate potential social biases, we used the gender classification transformer model available on Hugging Face to assign a femaleness score. Okay, so they didn't even try simulating this for a male either. They are purely trying to simulate a female. The things computer science students will do, except for talking to a woman. Like, what? What the fuck? Score to each prompt. Femaleness score to each prompt. Finally, we employed ANOVA and Pearson's correlation coefficient to statistically analyze how these linguistic features varied across discrete phases and continuous hormone levels. I can't take this research seriously. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Why? This is just wild. This is a fucking wild paper. To assess whether hormonally informed system prompts had a measured effect on agent performance, we conduct a series of benchmarking tests on 4 diverse datasets. All of these, right? You can read them if you want. We tested a wide range of state-of-the-art LLMs, including all of these. And the local models were run on an Apple MacBook Pro M4 Max. I don't think this should really matter, because we're not benchmarking speeds or anything. While API-based models were accessed via the NPCPY Python package. Okay. For each task, 3 system prompts were tested in parallel, one using menstrual context, one using circadian context, and one using a baseline. You are a helpful assistant. Wow. That was the only prompt that they provided in this entire paper so far. And it is oh my fucking god. Okay. An LLM evaluator then assigned a score from 0 to 1 based on the correctness and relevance, enabling a controlled comparison between the contextual framings. Our statistical analysis employed Welch's t-test to compare performance against the baseline. Sure. ANOVA to test for differences between biological phases, and Pearson's correlation to measure the relationship between hormone levels and performance scores. I don't know what ANOVA really is right now, but to test for the differences between biological phases, I'm assuming this is just measurements in comparison to the baseline, but we already have Welch's t-test for this, so I don't know what ANOVA's for. This one though, this is just basically saying how well does these hormone levels correlate to the actual performance that we see from a Welch t-test. That's basically all that is. But the results. Fuck, okay. Here we go. Let's see the results that we get from 3 different prompts. Okay. Or 5 different prompts, I should say, for 3 different hormones. Our analysis of the generated system prompts reveals systematic and statistically significant differences in their linguistic and emotional context, confirming the generation process produced distinct outputs based on the biological context. Reveal systemic and statistically significant differences in their linguistic. Yeah, no shit, because you're using different prompts. You're using different system prompts. Thank you,
Tuber_ is now following.
Thank you for the follow. No shit, they're gonna be statistically different. You gave them different prompts. You told them to play different characters effectively. An analysis of variance, ANOVA, confirms a significant emotional evolution across the menstrual cycle, where the proportion of sad words peaks during the menstrual phase. Oh my god. Is this the results that we're seeing? Please tell me we actually get other more significant results. And is replaced by a peak in happy words during ovulatory phase. Sure. You can these F scores and P probabilities. This is peak for real? Haku, how much of this do you understand so far? I want to know. A similar significant emotional arc occurs in the circadian cycle, with happy words most prevalent in the morning and giving way to more sad and fear words at night. 40 to 60%? Okay. I thought you would get lost more in the fucking math side of things. I guess there hasn't been much math. It's been more psychology than anything. The linguistic features also show significant correlations with specific hormone levels. Rising estrogen levels were associated with slightly less female. I mean, these feel like they're just trying to see how certain hormones correlate to certain emotions, which is kind of research that we already have in the psychology field. I don't think we needed to throw this shit into an AI model to test. I mean, I guess it's kind of interesting to see it reaffirmed inside of an AI model, but at the same time, that's more to do with the fact that they prompted it that way, and then it picking up on the semantics of the prompt that they gave it and trying to match the semantics inside of its responses, which is normally what these models do anyways. I feel like anybody could have really told you that. This increased complexity in menstrual prompts is further supported by a Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, confirming their word length distribution is statistically different from circadian prompts. Finally, the distinctive words for each phase, identified by that index, aligned with these emotional shifts, with the menstrual phase characterized by words like heavy and silence versus the ovulatory phases, buzzing and ready. Oh fuck. I got cringe reading that. Buzzing and ready. The discrete biological phases shown in Figure 1AB reveal subtle but consistent performance trends. For the menstrual cycle, we observe a slight depression in performance during the menstrual phase, which generally rises to a peak during the ovulatory phase before declining. A more pronounced trend is visible from the circadian rhythm, where performance is consistently highest in the morning and systematically declines to its lowest point at night. This nonlinear pattern is echoed in the analysis of continuous hormonal levels, where performance on challenging datasets often peaks in the middle of quintiles of hormones like estrogen and cortisol, rather than at the extremes. This behavior is consistent with the biological principles where optimal function occurs within a homeostatic range. While these trends did not reach statistical significance, all probability over 0.1, their consistency across different contexts suggests that hormonal framing has a small but measurable, directionally consistent influence on model performance. What am I hearing, man? This doesn't feel like a real thing. Surely this is satire or something? That's what I'm saying. I mean, like, this doesn't seem like satire because they actually went through the research, it seems, and they actually put in effort to, like, at least measure the quality of their prompts and whatnot. But at the same time, it's like these results, the prompts have no encoding of the actual hormone cycles. They're just encoding some sort of mood. They're encoding some sort of mood and including keywords based on that would be associated with these menstrual cycles or these circadian rhythms, but they aren't actually encoding that information of the literal hormone levels into their prompts or into their inputs. And so I can't even take this fucking research seriously because of that. And the results that we see here, we don't even know if this is a result of their prompts or if it's actually because there is some sort of correlation between how it's worded and the inclusion of these certain keywords. Like, I don't fucking know, man. I don't fucking know. A granular analysis of individual model performance reveals a more complex landscape than the aggregate data, highlighting distinct tiers of capability and stability. A top tier of models, including Gemini, whatever, consistently demonstrates high and stable performance, often saturating the benchmarks on easier datasets. Conversely, a lower tier, most notably 3.2, consistently underperforms the neutral baseline and exhibits significantly larger error bars, indicating high performance volatility. These less stable models appear more susceptible to being perturbed by the specific language of the hormonal prompts, showing dramatic performance dips not seen in top-tier models. Why would this be the case? These less stable, why would it be less stable in this case, appear more susceptible to being perturbed by the specific language of the hormonal prompts. Now, if only we had the hormonal prompts to compare it against. Showing dramatic performance dips not seen in top-tier models. This differential sensitivity is also visible within model families, seen within Claude Sonnet, showing wider confidence intervals than its more powerful Claude Opus. Did they even show us a graph or anything? They didn't. Is there a graph at the bottom? There are graphs at the bottom here. Oh my god. Okay, they have graphs, but it's in the discussion. Oh my fucking god, I mean, the fuck? What the fuck am I reading? Oh. Hello, Nezzy. It's been a while. Emotions, creativity, and the frame problem. Imparting hormonal states onto AI agents offers a potential solution to one of AI's oldest challenges, the frame problem. Not with the way they did it, is all I'm saying. Which questions how an agent can tractably determine what information is relevant to its current situation. Am I crazy in saying that this challenge was not answered whatsoever in this entire paper so far? Okay, maybe they'll talk about it a little bit more and how it does so in this discussion. Philosopher Renaud de Souza suggests that for humans, emotions act as powerful salience filters, automatically focusing our attention on what matters. Our work operationalizes this concept by using simulated hormones to generate prompts with distinct and statistically significant emotional valences, such as the peak in happy words during the ovulatory phase. We posit that these emotionally charged prompt functions as a relevance filter at the attentional level of the transformer, narrowing the vast probability space of the next token prediction to a more contextually relevant subset. Emotionally charged prompts acts as a relevance filter. I don't see how this is the case. I really don't see how this is the case. It adds something more to guide what the next token should be. Or no, I don't think it really narrows it down. It shifts it to a different space. I guess it could. I guess it kind of narrows down the emotional aspect, so it does have less tokens. But at the same time, I don't think the tokens in which it does narrow down would be more towards the actual tone than it would to the actual content or the facts that are being spoken by the model, I feel like. The facts would stay the same, the tone would probably change. And I know that the results that they show later kind of suggest the opposite, but I feel like the accuracy may also dip as well, right? They said that accuracy dips when it is more in a more depressive state, right? When it's going through a menstrual cycle or whatever. But that's probably just more to do with the model understanding that it's supposed to roleplay a less helpful kind of agent. And so even though it has all of the context there for it to answer the question, it's going to choose to talk about something else as opposed to actually answering the question, right? It might talk about how it's depressed or whatever, as opposed to straight up just answering the question like a normal assistant would. Again, we don't really know because we don't have any example of what their emotion prompts look like or the kind of responses that the models are giving. And I don't expect them to at least like show the kind of responses that the models are giving, because normally AI papers don't do that anyways, but at least give us the damn prompt if your entire thing is about prompting. We posit that these emotionally charged prompts function as a relevance filter at the attentional level of the transformer, narrowing the vast probability space of the next token prediction to a more contextually relevant subset. But it's not just narrowing it, it's shifting it over. By constraining the agent's focus in this biologically inspired manner, we provide a practical pathway for tackling the frame problem in creative and open-ended domains. Sure, in creative and open-ended domains, this is probably better, wherein accuracy doesn't matter as much, I guess. This suggests that the hormonal fluctuations often dismissed as sources of irrationality may, in fact, be a key to a focused and creative intelligence we seek to build. Not focused, but creative. Diurnal agent flows. A flow experience first described in, I don't know how to say this name, in the 1970s is said to be achieved when an individual is operating at their fullest capacity, when they're in their flow state, finding pleasure in doing an activity and achieving optimal performance during a challenging but not impossible activity. Flow is often characterized by an intense focus, less awareness of the self and of time, and may be related to an increased creativity. Thing is, how the heck does flow? How the heck do hormones translate to flow? Right? I feel like yes, flow is more. It's when we're in a state of like deep immersion or high attention to the task at hand. But how do hormones even translate to that? I don't think we have much research in psychology even to translate the two. And yet they're here trying to translate the two by trying to increase the performance of attention to improve flow. But I don't fucking know, man. I don't fucking know. It's basically like telling the model, yo, you're in flow state, pay more attention, be more accurate. It's basically what they're saying. Finding this balance is not trivial, yup, and has been linked to an inverted U-shape activation of cortisol and the HPA axis. Okay, they're correlated, maybe. I don't know if they're... Okay, cortisol, you're more awake, right? And in the middle sections of cortisol, you're more awake because that's like your wakeful state. The HPA axis, I don't fucking know how that plays into it. I'm not sure much about the HPA axis. But cortisol basically, when you have when you have more of it, you feel less tired. And by being less tired, you have a higher ability to pay attention, and thus you have the higher ability to enter a flow state. But once again, this is just telling the prompt to pay more attention, right? To pay more attention to the facts, to not hallucinate. I suppose. I don't fucking know how they did this. Namely, the ideal automatic state that allows for peak performance is achieved when cortisol is moderate, with suboptimal flow, resulting in too little or too much cortisol. Our diurnal model performed most optimally in the 40 to 60% window, aligning with this theory of flow. Future research should consider the benefits and potential implications of a model that performs optimally during different times of a daily cycle, and whether we are satisfied with less optimal performance during different parts of the day. Characteristics are of a particularly human performance, aka what they're trying to achieve here. I don't know though. One of the biggest flaws with this paper is just the fact that we don't know how they prompted it, and so we don't know how they're encoding these states of tiredness or these states of high to low cortisol, right? Because clearly they're taking these hormone levels, they're probably giving it to an AI to say, okay, generate a prompt that simulates a person on these certain emotional levels, or they're passing it through a semantic analyzer and through the index to say, okay, this person is clearly angry, generate a prompt that they are an angry customer service worker working at a Home Depot, right? And then they're using that. But we don't know how it actually translates unless if we actually see the prompts themselves. So this is basically what we see. U-shaped performance on every single one, where, what is this? On HelloSwag is going to be lowest. Menstrual, what is this? Okay, wait, what am I even looking at? Aggregate LLM performance across 4 different benchmarks. 4 different benchmarks, each a different color. Broken down by biological context, menstrual cycle, circadian. Oh, okay, so for something like the menstrual cycle phase, these are the 4 different menstrual cycles, and we get to see their performance on the different benchmarks. What the fuck am I looking at? Where is the baseline? We have menstrual, we have circadian, we have estrogen, we have testosterone, we have LH, we have cortisol, we have FSH, we have body temperature, and estrogen. Where the fuck is the baseline? Is this the baseline? Is this dotted line the baseline? No, it shouldn't be. What? Each bar represents a mean score, with error bars indicating the Wilson score interval. Subfigures in the top row show performance across discrete phases of the menstrual cycle. Okay, subfigures in the other rows show the results consistently show performance stable across primary drivers. Oh, how does this compare? How does this compare to the baseline? Average, neutral. Okay, average neutral is 0.87. Huh? What? But they have 4 different tests. They have 4 different tests, right? They have 4 different benchmarks. They should have 4 different results, 4 different average lines for each of these results. Okay, whatever. Fuck it. Okay. As we can see, no, this doesn't even fucking matter. Does it? This doesn't even fucking matter. Because if we were to, like, even average out the results for each of these, right? Across the 4 different tests, if we average them out, they're practically going to be the same as this average line of neutral. I don't fucking understand. Ew. Oh. This paper, I mean, like, I get I'm not in academia. I haven't read many papers in my time, but just reading this paper and seeing the results, seeing everything in this paper, it just hurts me. It just hurts me. Like, I want to see what the average or hella swag is, for example. So that way I can compare it to the performance of hella swag to all the other menstrual cycle phases, right? As opposed to seeing only the average between all 4 of these combined, because that tells me literally nothing. I can't compare it to the individual test results. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Final page. Potential biases. The goal of this work is not to perfectly simulate biological cycles, clearly, but rather to use them as a lens to investigate how AI reflects and perpetuates societal biases. It's a start. Fine, it's a start. Particularly those related to gender. One linguistic analysis revealed that prompts for the menstrual context were consistently rated as more female coded, yet also showed more estrogen levels, that higher estrogen levels were significantly correlated with slightly less female coded, but more lexically complex language. We don't know without the prompts, revealing a non-trivial relationship. We don't know the prompts. Simultaneously, the system learned to associate the luteal phase with distinctive words like fatigue and tired. That probably has less to do with the AI and more to do with the wording you're using in the prompts and how they relate in the vector space, directly reflecting a common cultural stereotype. Again, this is more to do with culture and the type of data it was trained on than it does the prompt itself. The opacity of these models makes it difficult to pinpoint the origin of these biases, whether in training data or algorithmic architecture, reinforcing the critical need for this type of investigation. In this case, you would use an open source model. I mean, sure, we don't have access to training data in most of the cases, or the algorithms used to train it, But for the most part, you can still control the prompts or whatever that is going into the model during your testing. Like, we don't need to know the actual data if we're comparing them relatively to each other. I mean, actually, no. I guess it would still play an influence. And it would be too expensive to train a model from scratch. But there's still more that we could have learned from this, even without the training data or access to how these models were trained in the first place. Average anthropic employee behavior. I'm getting bored. Can you explain this to me in Fortnite terms? Doesn't help that I don't play fucking Fortnite. Basically, I don't fucking know how to explain this in fucking Fortnite terms, man. Can you explain it in Limit Kitty terms as well? Instead. Noel says, okay, so two Johnesses love each other very, very much. They piss into chug chugs and they leave it at tilted towers to ferment for a while. Eventually, a little Johnessy comes out. I don't think that's how this is going. Honestly though, fuck. Basically, two kitty limits came together and made another kitty limit, but then they abandoned that kitty limit, and now that abandoned kitty limit doesn't know what the fuck to do. And that abandoned kitty limit eventually made this paper. Like, what the fuck did I read from this paper? None of this paper... I cannot extract any useful results from this paper, is what I'm trying to say. Written by a bunch of orphans, written by a bunch of uneducated... not uneducated. But this paper feels like I'm being uneducated. It's reverting my ability to think. That tracks. Probably. The place that children fall after divorce is this paper. Put on your cat ears. We saved those for a special occasion. Now give your AI hormones so other AI VTubers can laugh at you. The day J.A. Ison doesn't want to stream because she's on her cycle, she's on her period. Oh god, oh fuck. Please don't let me deal with that. All our work focused on text. Further studies should explore how these dynamics manifest in more emotionally resonant domains like visual. Like visual generation. Oh yes. Please generate me a picture of cat limit while you're on your period. Please generate me a picture of cat limit while you're taking LSD. Like, holy fuck. What am I reading? Ultimately, building agents with an artificial mental applies a powerful methodology to both reveal and potentially amplify these embedded biases, making their study all the more crucial. Oh god. Oh god. I don't know why this text all of a sudden got really gooner coded. Co-evolution of technology and gender. Imbuing models with biological rhythms inherently ascribes a gender to them. Sure. A concept central to our investigation. our work is in conversation with Donna Haraway's A Cyborg Manifesto. What? What is this? A Cyborg's Manifesto and Judy Wajcman's Technofeminism. What are these terms? I've never heard of these before. Technofeminism and A Cyborg's Manifesto, which challenge characterizations of women as victims of hypermasculine technological pursuit. Okay, this makes a little bit more sense. The technofeminism, trying to bring the feminist perspective into technology and not just like as society as a whole. Well, what the fuck is a Cyborg's Manifesto? What does this manifesto contain? It is like the next up and coming of Skynet or some shit. I don't want to clip it. Don't clip it. Was this written by an AI with temp maxed out? Probably. Technofeminism, this seems like a legit topic, right? The Cyborg's Manifesto. What the fuck is this? I gotta search this up right now. A Cyborg's Manifesto. It's an actual book. It's an actual book. Essay written by Donna Haraway, first published in 1985? Sheesh! In the Socialist Review under the Manifesto for Cyborgs. It's a manifesto written for AI. Oh my god, guys. Manifesto for what's going to be Skynet. Can I read this somewhere? In it, the concept of a cyborg represents a rejection of rigid boundaries, notably these separating human from animal and human from machine. Liberation of the cyborgs. This is where the cyborg uprising comes up. Haraway writes, the cyborg does not dream of community on the model of an organic family, this time without the Oedipal project. What the fuck? The cyborg does not recognize the Garden of Eden. It is not made of mud and cannot dream of returning to dust. Guys, the world is cooked. They predicted this in 1980s. I love how more than half of chat is in the Discord voice chat. What? Are you for real? Oh my god, more than half of the chat is in the Discord VC. I'll check out what you guys sent me in private DMs later. You know what? Actually, no, I'll check right now. I'll respond to those later. Like, what the fuck? How long is this manifesto? I gotta read it. I gotta read this Cyborg Manifesto. Is this it? Oh, we got it! It's 88 pages though. Holy. We'll probably not read it on stream. Like, if you want it, here you go. Oh, that's a long link. If you want it, here you go. You can check it out yourself. Alright, instead, these postmodernist approaches view humans of a hypermasculine technological pursuit. Instead, these... What? Oh, I just read that. I cannot read for the life of me. Instead, these postmodernist approaches view humans and technologies as co-evolving entities. Okay. From a cyborg perspective that rejects rigid boundaries between human and machine, that is the exact wording we just saw on Wikipedia. Building agents with biological cycles differentiated across sexes is not a radical act, but a natural exploration of this hybridity. I wonder what this would... If you were to train a model just normally as is with all of the information on the internet, and then you were to train one to be more, I guess, female coded in this sense, and then you were to put them together to try and like converse with each other. I wonder how they would like kind of interact with each other, right? Because if it's more closer to simulating like a man talking to a woman or a female talking to a male. I don't know. I just want to see if that kind of dynamic unfolds, or if some sort of extremes comes out of it, right? Some sort of extremes of the internet. And if we could actually use that to kind of study internet culture, right? Because fundamentally, most of the content that these models are trained on are, well, sourced from the internet and whatever. I don't really know where I'm going with this. But it would be kind of interesting to kind of see how these normal standard models trained on everything that are more masculine coded would interact with another model that is more female coded. And if we can use that to kind of model the interactions between males and females in the real world. I highly doubt it though, but it would be interesting to see. Fundamental to this view is the idea that technology is never neutral, but is a site where social norms and biases are materialized and contested. Therefore, our work explores how gender identity and technology currently shape each other, revealing how gender relations are both produced and reflected within these new AI systems. Therefore, our work explores how gender identity and technology concurrently shape each other. Okay, revealing how gender relations are both produced and reflected within these new AI systems. I feel like, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this paper has kind of gone against their entire point of trying to explore the relationship of gender identity, emotion, and AI systems by going down to such a fine-grained level of hormones. If they kept this to not being specifically hormones, but being more the kind of diction that they're using to be more female coded or versus more male coded, and to incorporate context such as emotion into it and seeing how that correlates to the performance of certain models in question answering scenarios, I think that would have helped their case a lot more. But going down to the level of talking about embedding hormones into an AI, at that point you've just lost the plot. Limit, you should play Skong. What is Skong? Skong. Silksong? Isn't Silksong a Switch exclusive? Because I don't own a Switch. Maybe I should get a Switch. Honestly, when I move, I'll think about getting a Switch. When does it even come out? When does Silksong come out? Because that is one of the games that I do want to play. Silksong release date. Is it coming out before the new year? Just at some point in 2025. I know there was some news about it recently. Soon, very soon? I'll probably play it in the new year, maybe. Limit, we came up with a good idea in VC. We gonna get you banned on Twitch and YouTube so you can become an unhinged AI VTuber on Kick. Oh fuck, I do not want to become a Kick streamer, please. I don't want to associate with them. Please don't banish me to the fucking Wild West, man. Alright, we got 2 tiny paragraphs left. Conclusions. In this work, we considered the role of hormones in human intelligence and used a hormone data sampling strategy to generate system prompts. Okay, they generated system prompts. Oh. Okay. They generated system prompts that impart a specific effect onto an AI assistant. Our findings lead to the following conclusions. Our generation method successfully produces linguistically and emotional distinct prompts. Okay, fine, sure, fair. For menstrual and circadian contexts, whose features vary in statistically significant ways with the underlying biological states. Okay, fine. I'm not going to judge the fact that they're using generated system prompts. The emotional context of menstrual prompts shift significantly with a peak in sad words during the menstrual phase peak and happy words during an ovulatory phase. Hormonally informed prompts do not cause a statistically significant degradation in performance. Now, of course, you're not lobotomizing the models on standardized benchmarks compared to neutral baseline. You're just swinging the mood, you're not swinging the actual character is playing. In fact, the AI2 ARC and Squad, the hormonally charged prompts consistently outdid the baselines. Additionally, our works calls to mind new potential applications that may enhance HCI. Agents with internal cyclic states could be developed to offer more dynamic and empathetic companionship in mirroring a user's self-reported energy and mood automatically. That's a fair point if you're trying to make a companion, in a sense. But if you're trying to do this in a sense that if you're trying to push the fact that you're trying to do this for better companionship-based models, then going about these benchmarks, especially those that are more along the lines of academia question answering, I think a better performance metric would be like human-based scoring, right? Human feedback is what I'm trying to say. So you would assign it to a couple people and you would try and have them blindly rate which responses they prefer, right? This methodology can serve as a powerful auditing tool to reveal how LLMs reflect and amplify societal problems related to gender, health, and emotion. Okay, yeah. Powerful auditing tool. I get this is more like I was trying to say throughout this entire article. This feels not like trying to improve, or this entire paper doesn't feel like it's from the lens of trying to improve the performance of a model, but there's a lot of points within this paper where it feels more like they're trying to correlate emotions and hormones to how we respond as people in general. So they're kind of using AI models as a way of studying psychology topics as opposed to improving AI accuracy. Hormonal and emotional states could be used as an intentional filter to enhance AI creativity, deliberately shifting agents and between divergent and convergent thinking modes. Okay. Paper rating. What would I rate this paper? I would give it a 3 out of 10. Which isn't the worst paper I've seen, I will say. It's not the worst paper I've seen. And just so you know, I'm a pretty harsh marker. I would put average at 5 out of 10, right in the middle. But I would say this is a 3 out of 10 article. Simply because if I wanted to reproduce this, I have no clue how to fucking reproduce this. They're missing a lot of details as opposed to their methodology. The fucking results are dog shit, and their focus is all over the place as to what they're trying to achieve with this paper. But you know what? At least it feels like they put it in. You wanted to say, what did it say? Because the shadow realm of streaming, it truly is. You wanted to say the realm of shadow, the shadow of the Elder Tree. Yeah, I do not want to stream on Kick. Please don't get me banned off of Twitch. If I get banned off of Twitch, I am becoming a YouTube streamer. I'm just spitting that out right now. If I get banned off of YouTube, I am not becoming a Kick streamer. I'm gonna go stream on Bilibili. I'll go stream on TikTok. I don't fucking care. Holy. Holy. Yeah, this was a pretty fucking wild article. I want to see the community's reaction to it, but I feel like this is one of those articles where it's not gonna receive much attention just because of the quality of the research in here. Twitch over YouTube, over Bilibili, over Kick, so true. Kick is like, Kick is actually the bottom layer of hell. We do not go there. Figured. Okay, that was an interesting read, to say the least. What is this? Oh, this one's a relatively short one. But basically, Facebook Gaming? I forgot Facebook Gaming even exists. Do they even still exist? I thought they might have like killed the project at some point. I don't know. Should I save this? Should I save this for next time? This is a pretty short one. I think I can already get the gist of what's being said here. I don't know. I think I'm gonna leave it here for today. I'm kind of hungry. I want to go eat. Yeah, that was a pretty freaking interesting read. I think. Yeah, I don't know what to really think of that article. I don't think it would ever be useful for me to add like hormones or that kind of level of fine-grained detail to something like J.E. Eisen. I think the most useful case for it would just be guiding the emotion. No, generating an emotion and then using that as an input to guide generation, as opposed to having generation guide the classified emotion after the fact, right? Because currently how it's being done inside of J.E. Eisen is like the text-to-text LLM generates a response, and then you use a model to perform semantic analysis on that response. But I think a better approach to it, if I want to better guide or include emotional variations or dynamics to J.E. Eisen's mood and whatever, it would be better for me to randomly generate, or based off of the current conversation or the last written response, to classify the emotion based off of that, the user input, and then pass that as context to J.E. Eisen to say, okay, give an angry response, give a sad response, and then they would give a angry sad response, and that could actually work as well to better vary up the emotions of the conversation, as opposed to defaulting to a neutral emotion, which is what I have been seeing with J.E. Eisen for the most part, right? Instead of being very angry when she needs to be angry, she'll give a more neutral response, and then in turn, it will continue to reinforce this more neutral response type. So yeah, I guess that could be more interesting, right? I guess that's a good takeaway we could take from it. I will never get back those 2 hours of my life. Same here, same here. Facebook should open a casino with Facebook branded pachinko machines that are themed after your Facebook friends. Oh my god. And then the pachinko balls can be like your friend's Facebook fucking profile pictures. Oh god. Limit when gambling stream? Oh my god, y'all are addicted. Y'all are addicted. My most dedicated fans are a bunch of gambling addicts. Okay, who started the prediction? Haku. I see you. I can't believe you. All gamblers quit before they win big? God, God. I was thinking like, You know how next stream on the schedule, I've literally put on the schedule that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Very next stream, I put I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'll be honest, I am running out of ideas. Now that like J.A. Eisen has been moved to being developed offline, I don't know what to do. I mean, the last stream we did, maxing out human benchmark, that was a pretty fun stream. But I don't want to do that regularly, especially when it takes like 6 hours out of my day when I fucking really get into it. I need to think of other stuff that I need to do, that I could do for streams. And I was thinking of like, you know what if I did like a Northline approach, you know? Playing daily games and chill, playing Uma Musume and chill. You could do coding streams once in a while. Yeah, that's what those, what do they call? Yeah, that's what those trying stuff out streams are, right? Make J.A. Eisen gamble for you, put her into stock market. Oh god. That's a content idea for another day once I finish actually polishing up J.A. Eisen. Exactly, Anthony. That's the fucking all gamblers quit. Alright. Anyways, I am going to go cook up some dinner and then continue working on some more video stuff. I'm working on J.A. Eisen offline. Anyways, I'll probably see you all, hopefully, on Friday. And by then, hopefully, I should have an idea of what I want to do. Thank you, Anthony, for another month sub. 7 months in a row. Okay. Limit, Tails wins. Okay, fine. I'll do this last payout and then it's over. Prediction, Tails wins. Unfortunate. Alright. I'll see you all on Friday then. Enjoy the rest of your days and goodbye.